Hello friends, welcome back to our channel Tejas Classes. I hope you are all doing very well. Friends, in today's session, we'll be learning about monuments and places of India, which is considered as the most important topic for various competitive examinations, and this topic is very important for RRB NTPC and RRB Group D and JE also. Okay, so in today's class, we'll be looking in detail about the monuments and places of India along with other questions which might expect in your examinations. Okay, before starting our session, for more videos of RRB NTPC Group D and for pre PDF, please subscribe to our channel Tejas Classes. Before starting our session, we'll divide these monuments and places of India into three parts for easy understanding. Okay, so in first part we'll learn about UNESCO World Heritage Sites, second temple and forts, and third archaeology sites. Okay, so what is UNESCO, guys? UNESCO, you might all know that what is UNESCO, but this is an important topic for your examination as there is a topic mentioned here in a syllabus: important world organizations and United Nations organizations, right? And full form of UNESCO is United Nations Scientific and Cultural Organization, United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. And where is the headquarters of UNESCO located? It is located in Paris, France, and it is founded in the year 1945. And who is the head of UNESCO? It is Audrey Azoulay. Very important questions, guys. I have given a picture for your remembrance, because if you see a picture, you'll remember for more time. Okay, and there are 193 member countries in UNESCO. Before learning about a monument or a place, we need to remember the basic things which are very important, and those are: the first one is a place, that is a location, and the builder or founder, and which year it is constructed or which year construction was completed, and what is its importance and significance. Okay, yeah, let's start with UNESCO sites of India. See, there are currently 38 World Heritage Sites in India, out of which 30 are cultural site, 7 are natural site, and one is a mixed criteria site of cultural and natural. And first site we are going to look in UNESCO sites of India is Ajanta Caves. Ajanta Caves, I have given a picture for your reference. See how beautiful they are. Where are they, guys, present? They are present in Aurangabad district, Maharashtra. So what are Ajanta Caves? They are rock cut caves in Sahyadri ranges on Vaghora river. Okay, these are rock cut caves. What are rock cut caves mean? See, there is a rock here. Caves are cut into that rock. Okay, so that's why they are known as rock cut caves. And you can see the mountain over here, right? This one second. Yeah, you can see a mountain here. It is a mountain in Sahyadri ranges. Where are the Sahyadri ranges present? I have explained you in the mountains, right? Physical features of India. So central India, above central India, Sahyadri ranges, right? So on the Sahyadri ranges along the Vaghora river, I have given a map for this. See, this is a Vaghora river flowing, and these are the Sahyadri ranges, and here are the Ajanta caves. Where these are present? These are present in Aurangabad, Maharashtra. Okay, they were built in 2nd century BC to 6th century BC and built by Ashoka and Gupta rulers. Okay, and very important, first Buddhist cave monument. Okay, this is the first Buddhist cave monument, and two paintings were depicted. That is, two paintings were painted in this cave. And what are they? They are Shaddanta Jataka. They are Shaddanta Jataka and Bodhisattva Padmapani. I have given a picture here, right? This is the painting of Bodhisattva Padmapani. These are the very important paintings which are depicted in Ajanta caves, and they use a fresco style of paintings. Okay, they use a fresco style of paintings, and total 29 caves are present. Students usually confuse with this number because we have some people, they have mentioned that there are 31 caves. Okay, so some mention there are 29 caves. Why this is? Because some caves are not open for public, or they might have been ruined. So that's why they have been mentioning 31 or 21. You can mark any one of these as your answers. Okay, the second UNESCO site is the Ellora caves. It is also present in Aurangabad, Maharashtra. Friends, we already seen the Ajanta caves. Generally, we call these Ajanta Ellora as only one thing, that is Ajanta Ellora caves. These are also present in Aurangabad, Maharashtra, but they differ slightly. They are different places. Okay, see, they are built in 200 BC to 650 AD. They are built between these periods, and it contains three caves. Okay, Hinduist, Buddhist, and Jain caves. Okay, so Hindu and Buddhist caves are built by Rashtrakuta dynasty, whereas the Jain caves are built by Yadava dynasty. Okay, nearly 100 caves were there, but only 34 caves are open for public. Okay, 100 caves were there, are there still, and 34 caves are open for public. And where these caves are excavated from, these caves are excavated from basalt cliffs in Chandrani Hills. Very, very important. See, guys, whichever I tell very, very important, you may expect a question from it. Okay, so please keep in mind and note down. These are the keywords like. Okay, so these are excavated from basalt hill in Chandrani Hills, and very important, world's largest monolithic rock excavation. What? World's largest monolithic rock excavation means, see, you have a mountain, right? So this is not cut into pieces. This whole rock is carved into a temple. That is, the monolithic means a single rock. It is excavated from a single rock. Here you can see the temple, which is excavation from a single rock. And out of this, in cave number 16, we have one famous temple. It is Kailasanath temple. What? It is a Kailasanath temple dedicated to Lord Shiva. Okay, and the third site is Victorian and Art Deco assemble. Sorry, you can see a image, right? Victorian Art Deco assembling as an assembly of Mumbai. What it is, guys? These are basically the buildings of neo-Gothic style, that is Victorian neo-Gothic style, and 20th century Art Deco buildings. Okay, so see, I've given here collection of 19th century Victorian neo-Gothic buildings and 20th century Art Deco. Okay, these are the buildings. These are set around a playground type, which is known as oval Maidan. You can see the playground is in the shape of oval, so it is known as oval Maidan, and around it these buildings are set up in 19th century and 20th century. Okay, see, to the east of this Maidan, some famous buildings, that is Victorian buildings, are present, and out of these, Mumbai High Court, University of Mumbai are a part of Victorian buildings, and to the west, Art Deco buildings, Eros Cinemas, the famous one, and the private buildings and private bungalows are present over to the west. Okay, this is the recent addition into the UNESCO Heritage Sites of India. Okay, Elephanta Caves, where it is located? It is located in Elephanta Island, Mumbai Harbour. Okay, see, I have given a picture of the inside the cave. It is built in 2nd century BC, and it is popularly known as Garapuri. What? It is popularly known as Garapuri, and Elephanta caves are Hindu and Buddhist caves. So, collection of cave temples that are dedicated to Hindu god Shiva. Here you can see the three-faced Shiva, right? See, 1, 2, 3. You can see the three-faced Shiva, and it is a 20 feet monolithic Trimurti Shiva statue, right? What? 20 feet monolithic Trimurti Shiva statue. Monolithic, cut from a single rock. Okay, and Elephanta Caves, Elephanta Island, Mumbai Harbour. Okay, and it is also known as Garapuri. Very important. The fifth place is Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus, that is Victoria Terminus. I guess most of the people know this place, right? Where it is located? It is located in Mumbai, Maharashtra. You might generally know it as by name as CSTM, right? Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminal Station. See, it is built in 1887 to 1888, built between. Okay, and the designer of this Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminal is Mr. Frederick William Stevens. Important. Designer of CSTM, that is Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus, is Frederick William Stevens. Why it is built? It is built in the honor of Queen Victoria for our Golden Jubilee celebrations. Okay, for our Golden Jubilee celebrations. So this has been as a memory. as a honor of Queen Victoria, CS team has built. Okay, and what is the architecture of this, guys? It is a Gothic style of architecture. Okay, what Gothic style of architecture? You might expect a question like, what is the architecture style of CSTM? Answer is Gothic style. And in 1996, it was renamed as Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus. Okay, it was renamed as Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus. Before that, what it used to be? It used to be Victoria Terminus. Okay. Yeah, now we have completed the World UNESCO Heritage Sites in the state of Maharashtra, and the important things to know are the CM and the Governor of state Maharashtra. As the questions from this topic, that is CM and Governor, are repeatedly been asked in NTPC examinations in previous shifts. So let us learn the CM and Governor of Maharashtra. And who is the Governor of Maharashtra? It is Mr. Bhagat Singh Koshyari. This is the one. Is a Mr. Bhagat Singh Koshyari, the Governor of Maharashtra, and CM of Maharashtra is Mr. Uddhav Thackeray. This fellow, sorry, this person. So CM of Maharashtra is Mr. Uddhav Thackeray. Okay, so I have given a trick based on mnemonic technique. So I may not give you the tricks for all the topics, but you please make a trick yourself using mnemonic technique, which will be very useful in your examinations. Trust me, this mnemonic technique helps us to remember many things. Okay, so I have given a trick. You can also make your own trick, because making your own trick makes it easy to remember. See, trick 1. महा एलिफेंट आज येलो ड्रेस पहन के क्वीन विक्टोरिया देखने CSTM गया. वॉट? महा एलिफेंट आज येलो ड्रेस पहन के क्वीन विक्टोरिया देखने CSTM गया. महा represents Maharashtra. Okay, and आज represents Ajanta. Yellow represents yellow, that is Ellora. Victoria represents Victoria Terminus, and CSTM, that is Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus. Okay, so try to make a mnemonic expression trick for all the topics which you study, which makes you easy to remember, and this will definitely help in your examinations. Okay, let us now see other important places of Maharashtra. Guys, till now we have learned 5 World Heritage Sites of Maharashtra. Okay, so these are not heritage sites, but these are the important places in the state of Maharashtra. First one is Gateway of India. You all know that, right? In the front of Taj Hotel, the Mumbai attacks, you know that, the Taj, famous Taj Hotel, in front of it, the Gateway of India is present. Okay, so on which sea it is presented, guys? Please mention in the comment section. Okay, so this is the Gateway of India. Gateway of India, it is built in 11th century. Okay, it is built in 11th century. And why it is built? It is built to commemorate the arrival of one king. Who is that king? He is Mr. Emperor George V. Okay, and his Queen Empress Mary. Okay, so Gateway of India was built to commemorate the arrival of Mr. that is the King Emperor George V and Queen Empress Mary, and it is a Indo-Saracenic style of architecture. Okay, and some sort of Gujarati style of architecture is also mixed in it. We can say that it is a Indo-Saracenic style of architecture built in 11th century. Okay, and the next one comes the Bibi Ka Maqbara. What it is? Bibi Ki Maqbara is in Aurangabad, Maharashtra. Okay, it is built by Aurangzeb II for his first wife named Dilraz Banu Begum. Okay, Bibi Ka Maqbara is present in Aurangabad, Maharashtra, built by Aurangzeb for his first wife Dilraz Banu Begum. Okay, third one is Aga Khan Palace. See, Aga Khan Palace has its relation with the freedom struggle movement. Can you please tell me how? Okay, see, Aga Khan Palace is present in Pune. Okay, see, in this palace, Mahatma Gandhi and Mrs. Mahatma Gandhi, that is Kasturba Gandhi, were held as prisoners in this palace. Okay, so when you study the freedom struggle, you might be knowing this. See, Mr. Mahatma Gandhi and Kasturba Gandhi were held as prisoners in this palace, and Kasturba Gandhi ji died in this palace. Okay, Kasturba Gandhi ji was very ill, so she died in this palace. Okay, it is in Pune. And Sindhudurg Fort, very important fort. See, it is a fort in an island. Okay, It is in the place of Malwa town in Sindhudurg district. Okay, it is an island in Arabian Sea. You can see the image. I guess the image is not clear, but you can see the top view of it. Okay, it is in Arabian Sea and it is built by the famous Sri Chhatrapati Shivaji. Okay, Sindhudurg fort is built by Chhatrapati Shivaji and it is in Malwa town, Maharashtra. Okay, now we have completed the famous monuments in Maharashtra state along with the World Heritage Sites. Now we'll be looking into the famous monuments in the state of Uttar Pradesh. The first monument is Agra Fort. See, I have given a picture for you. This is Agra Fort, and where it is? It is in Agra in Uttar Pradesh. So you might expect a question on which bank and which river bank Agra Fort is situated. So the answer is Yamuna River. Agra Fort is situated on the banks of Yamuna River. Okay. Usually before, Agra Fort is also known as the Red Fort of Agra. We have Red Fort in Delhi, right? So Agra Fort is also known as Red Fort of Agra. What it is actually used as a residence for the Mughal kings. Okay, the Mughal kings, before shifting the capital from Agra to Delhi, they used it as a residence, and it is built for Akbar. See, it is built in 1565 and 73. So built for Akbar, and it was built by Akbar and Shah Jahan. So Akbar started it, and Shah Jahan later renovated and added some places in the Agra fort. See, it acted as a main residence for the Mughal dynasty till 1638. That means in 1638 the capital was the Mughals capital was shifted from Agra to Delhi, and traditionally it is known as Badalgarh. Okay, and we'll now see some places, that is some constructions inside the Agra fort. Okay, and the first one is the Jahangir house. What it is? Jahangir house, not a house, it is a house. It is generally a bathtub. It is carved out from a single block of granite. It is used as a bathtub by the kings. Okay, it was built by Akbar, and it is front of Jahangir Mahal. There is a Jahangir Mahal in the Agra fort, which is used as a ladies quarters. So in front of it they have placed this Jahangir house. Okay, and the next one is Diwani Hi Am. Diwani Hi Ham. Okay, Diwani Hi Ham is generally the all of audience, where the kings use it for meeting the general public. Okay, it houses the peacock throne. Okay, peacock throne is very important, guys. When you learn the history, that is the ancient history or medieval history, there you will know what is this peacock throne and what is its importance and what are the battles happened due to this. Okay, so Diwani see, here you can see the peacock throne. See, king is sitting over here, and this is the peacock throne. Peacock throne is nothing but a chair type. Okay, okay. The third one is Sheesh Mahal. Okay, Sheesh Mahal is nothing but it is a room with full of mirrors. It is used as a dressing room by the queens. Okay, and Khas Mahal. One more thing, here you can see this. It is a Khas Mahal, and it is a room in which emperors used to sleep. Emperors used it as a sleeping room. Okay, so we have seen the Agra Fort, where it is in Agra, Uttar Pradesh, on the banks of Yamuna River, built by Akbar, and various places inside the Agra Fort. Okay. See, now we'll see this one of the seven wonders of the world, that is the famous Taj Mahal. Guys, right? You can see the beautiful Taj Mahal over here. Can you please tell me, there's a river flowing along the Taj Mahal. What it is? Which river it is? It is the Yamuna River. Very important question might arise from this. Okay. See, Taj Mahal is situated on the southern bank of Yamuna River in Agra, Uttar Pradesh. It is built in 1631, built by Shah Jahan for his wife Mumtaz. Okay, and who is the chief architect? Important, guys. Who is the chief architect of Taj Mahal? He is Mr. Ustad Ahmad Lowri. Okay, chief architect of Taj Mahal, Ustad Muhammad Lowri. Okay, see, it is generally considered as ivory white marble mausoleum. Okay, ivory white marble. The Taj Mahal is fully constructed with the use of white marble only. Okay, and it is also called as the jewel of Muslim art in India. Very important. Taj Mahal is also known as jewel of Muslim art in India. Eighth one, Fatehpur Sikri. What is Fatehpur Sikri, guys? Fatehpur Sikri is a town in the Agra district of Uttar Pradesh. Okay, see, in 1570 it was built 1571 to 1573. Entire town was built. That is known as Fatehpur Sikri. In 1571 to 73, entire town was built by Akbar. Why it is built? It was built for Gujarat's campaign victory. Akbar, after winning a Gujarat's campaign, he built this Fatehpur Sikri as a remembrance of it. And Akbar also built a Buland Darwaza. Okay, we'll see what is Buland Darwaza. Okay, and it is known as City of Victory. Fatehpur Sikri is also known as City of Victory. And famous saint, that is Sufi saint, was residing in Fatehpur Sikri. His name is Sheikh Salim Chishti. Okay, Sheikh Salim Chishti, a Sufi saint, existed here. See, we'll see the various monuments at Fatehpur Sikri. Okay, the first one is Buland Darwaza. Very, very, very important. Okay, Buland Darwaza is the highest gateway in the world. Highest gateway is present in Fatehpur Sikri. It is Buland Darwaza. It was built by Akbar in 1602 AD. Okay, and the next one is Salim Chishti tomb and Jama Masjid. Okay, you can see here. This is the white one is the Salim Chishti tomb, and this is the Jama Masjid. Okay, it was built by Akbar. Salim Chishti is a famous Sufi saint. Okay, he was a saint type over in that period who were residing in Fatehpur Sikri. See, it was built by Akbar, and Jama Masjid first building in this complex. So we have already seen this, right? Wait, let me show you. See, this is a full complex. Okay, in this you can see the masjid over here. So it is Salim Chishti and masjid. Okay, so this Jama Masjid was the first monument built in this complex. Okay, and the Ibadat Khana. What is this Ibadat Khana? Ibadat Khana is a house of worship where the king, that is the King Akbar, used to visit various priests of different religions and discuss the religious matters. See, this was built by Akbar in 1575 for religious meetings and discussions. When you see the movie of Jodha Akbar, you can see all these pictures. See the peacock throne and the meeting of these religious priests. You can see there. It is known as Ibadat Khana. And Panch Mahal. Panch means five. Five-floored palace. It is known as Panch Mahal. It was built by Akbar for ladies' recreation and relaxation. It was built for the queen's recreation and relaxation. Okay. Okay. So we have completed the World Heritage Sites in Uttar Pradesh, and the things to know. What are those? CM and governor. Who is the governor of Uttar Pradesh? It is Srimati Anandiben Patel. This is Mrs. Srimati Anandiben Patel, and CM Yogi Adityanath. CM is Yogi Adityanath. Okay, now we learn other important places of Uttar Pradesh. The first one is Jhansi Fort. By name you can recognize whose fort it is. Yeah, it is a fort of Sri Jhansi Lakshmi Bai. Okay, it is present in Jhansi, Uttar Pradesh. It was built by Chandela kings. Okay, Jhansi Fort is situated in Jhansi, Uttar Pradesh, built by Chandela kings. Okay, it is Akbar's tomb. See, Akbar's tomb is situated in Sikandara. Is present in Sikandara, Agra, Uttar Pradesh. It was built by Jahangir during 1605 and 1613. Akbar's tomb, Sikandara, Agra. Okay, and Damek Stupa. What it is? Damek Stupa. It is one of the famous Buddhist stupas. It is present in Sarnath, that is Varanasi. Built in 500 BC. It is a place where Buddha's first sermon was held. Okay, it was a place where Buddha's first sermon was held. Damek Stupa, Sarnath, Varanasi. Important. Okay, and now comes the famous Ashoka pillar. You all know that Ashoka pillar, where it is present? It is present in Sarnath, Varanasi, Uttar Pradesh. Okay, now we have completed the various famous monuments in Maharashtra and Uttar Pradesh. Now we'll come to Delhi. Okay, who is the Chief Minister of Delhi, guys? Please mention in the comment. I'll tell you later. Okay, see, World Heritage Site in Delhi, Humayun Tomb. This is known as Humayun Tomb. See how beautiful it is. See, Humayun Tomb is also known as a garden tomb. Do you know that? It is known as the first garden tomb of Indian subcontinent. Okay, it was built in 1570. Who is Humayun? Humayun is the second Mughal emperor. Okay, Humayun is the second Mughal emperor. He has ruled between the periods of 1530 to 1545. Again he lost the throne, and again he has ruled in 1555 to 1556. Okay. See, Humayun tomb was built by Humayun's first wife Haji Begum. Okay. See here. It was built by Humayun's first wife Haji Begum, and it is regarded as the first garden tomb of Indian subcontinent. You can see the four sides there's a garden present over here around the monument. So very well designed and full of garden, and is the first structure to use sandstone in a large scale. Very important, guys. Question may arise. Which is the first structure to use sandstone in a large scale? It is a Humayun tomb built by Aji Begum in 1570. It is present in Delhi, India. Okay. Now, Qutub Minar and its monuments. Guys, Qutub Minar alone is not a World UNESCO site. So, there are other monuments also present nearby the Qutub Minar. So, these group of monuments in Qutub are collectively known as World Heritage Site. Okay, where is Qutub Minar? It is present in Delhi, India. It is built in early 13th century by Qutbuddin Aibak. Qutub Minar was built by Qutbuddin Aibak in 13th century, and it was built using the red sandstone. It is a height of 72.5 meters. Okay, the height of the Qutub Minar is 72.5 meters, that is 238 feet. It has built as a victory tower to celebrate the victory of Muhammad Ghori over the Rajput king Prithviraj Chauhan. So there was a war between the Muhammad Ghori and the Rajput king Prithviraj Chauhan in 1192 AD. So after winning Muhammad Ghori, that is celebrating the victory of Muhammad Ghori, they have built a Qutub Minar. So it was built by Qutbuddin Aibak. It is known as Tower of Victory. Okay. So initially we have come across a term known as City of Victory. What it is, guys? It is Fatehpur Sikri. Okay, it is Fatehpur Sikri, and you can also see an iron pillar over here. When you visit Qutub Minar, you can also see a pillar made of iron. It is known as iron pillar. Originally, it was erected by Chandragupta II at Udaygiri. It was erected by Chandragupta II at Udaygiri, but later on shifted by Anganpal in 10th century to this site where Qutub Minar is present. Okay. See, the other places, the other monuments which are present near the Qutub Minar are Tomb of Iltutmish, okay, Quwwatul Islam Mosque, and Alai Darwaza. These are the various other monuments present in the Qutub Minar complex. Okay. See, here you can see the Humayun and his wife Haji Begum. Okay. Now comes the historical and very famous Red Fort complex. See, Red Fort complex is present in Delhi. Okay, on the banks of Yamuna River. See, what are the other monuments through which the Yamuna River passes? Please mention in the comment. One I am saying it is Taj Mahal. Okay, and there is one more monument along which the Yamuna River passes. Okay, please mention in the comment section. Okay, see, Red Fort complex is present on the banks of Yamuna River. It was built during 1639 and 1648, built by Shah Jahan. See, when shifted capital from Agra to Delhi. We have learned about Agra Fort, right? The Red Fort of Agra. So, in 1638, as we already seen in 1638, capital was shifted from Agra to Delhi. So, it is built by Shah Jahan. The Mughal emperor of that time was Shah Jahan. And the chief architect of Red Fort complex is Mr. Ustad Ahmad Lori. Ustad Ahmad Lori is also a chief architect of one more monument. See, after this video, please revise so that you come to know who Ustad Ahmad Lori is the chief architect of which monuments. Okay, and very important, guys, you may expect a question. And originally known as Blessed Fort. Red Fort originally known as Blessed Fort, that is Qila-e Mubarak. It is also known as Lal Killa. Lal means red, friends. That's why it is red in color. The red sandstone is used. That's why it is known as Lal Killa. See, Aurangzeb, later Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb added Pearl Mosque, that is Moti Masjid. Okay, he added, that is he has constructed a mosque made of pearls. It is known as Moti Masjid. So now you can see the interior, the inside monuments of a Red Fort. Okay, you generally see only this place in the TV. Okay, you generally see when you visit the Red Fort, inside there are many other monuments. Now we'll look into that. See, it is a Lahori Gate. It is a place where this is not the Lahori Gate, which is printed mistakenly. Okay, this is the Lahori Gate. It is the main entrance gate into the Red Fort. Okay, it is the main entrance gate into the Red Fort. When you go there, you need to enter through this entrance only, and it is this image is known as Chatta Chowk. Chatta Chowk, This is generally a market where pearls, diamond, golds that are being sold there at that period. Okay, Chatta Chowk. This is a what? This is Naubat Khana, friend. Naubat Khana is generally what? It is a place where music was played. It lies between the main court and the inside court. That is the fort. Okay, in this palace, music was played during the arrival of kings or any special dignitaries. Okay, see now you can see the inside monuments of Red Fort. Okay, see this is the Moti. First one is the Moti Masjid. Moti Masjid is also known as Pearl Mosque because it is made of white marble and it is white in color. Pearls are also white in color. That's why it is known as Pearl Mosque, that is used for prayer. And in this building is Hammam. Hammam is nothing but a place for bathing. It is generally a type of steam bath used by the, it is a prominent culture of Muslims. Okay, this is the Diwani-e-Khas. Diwani-e-Khas is a hall of private audience. So where the king, that is the emperor, received guests from various places, that is from states. He received guests and discussed it there and made the general public. Okay, and it is known as Khas Mahal. Khas Mahal is a private residence of the king. Okay, it is a private residence of the king. And the last one is the Rang Mahal. Rang Mahal is a building, that is a monument which is used as a mess hall for briefing very important discussions. Okay, so these are the various monuments present inside the Red Fort. Okay, so now let's move to the other monument. Yeah, we have completed the World Heritage sites in the Delhi, that is UT, and now we'll see the governor and chief minister of Delhi. Who is the governor? It is Mr. Lieutenant Governor Anil Balaji. See, Mr. Anil Balaji, he is the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi. Okay, and CM of Delhi, we all know Mr. Arvind Kejriwal. Mr. Arvind Kejriwal is the present CM of Delhi. And other important monuments of Delhi. This you all know what it is. India Gate. India Gate is present in New Delhi, whereas Gateway of India is present in Mumbai, Maharashtra. Gateway of India, Mumbai, India Gate, Delhi. So it is commissioned on 10th February 1921. Okay, so it is basically a memorial for 70,000 soldiers of the British Indian Army. 70,000 soldiers of the British Indian Army who died in between 1914 and 1921 in the First World War. Okay, you know that the First World War happened between 1914 to 1918, right? So it is generally a memorial built for all the soldiers who have died between the period of 19. Now we'll look into the various World Heritage Sites in the state of Rajasthan. The first one is Keoladeo National Park, present in Bharatpur, Rajasthan. Okay, initially till 1900, this park was a reserve. That is, this park was used by the Bharatpur kings as a duck hunting reserve. They used to hunt the ducks here in this reserve. Okay, on March 1982, see it was established as a national park. Formerly, it was known as Bharatpur Bird Sanctuary. As it is present in Bharatpur, it was previously known as Bharatpur Bird Sanctuary, and it is a famous avifauna sanctuary in India. What? It is a famous avifauna sanctuary in India, and it is a man-made and man-managed wetland. Okay, so Keoladeo National Park is a man-made and man-managed wetland. Okay, see locally, Keoladeo National Park is also known as Ghana Reserve. What? Important, guys. Keoladeo National Park is also known as Ghana Reserve, and it is recorded as a Ramsar wetland site in 1981. See, Ramsar sites, very important topic, guys. See, questions have been asked from this topic also. We'll discuss about Ramsar wetland sites in different videos, other video. So now, for time being, we'll see about this. It was recorded as wetland in 1981, and Keoladeo National Park is famous for Siberian cranes. Okay, it is a home for rare Siberian cranes. Very important, guys. Keoladeo National Park, Bharatpur, Rajasthan, home for Siberian cranes. Okay. Now Jantar Mantar. Okay, see you can see the Jantar Mantar over here. See, Jantar Mantar is present in Jaipur, Rajasthan. It is built in 1734, built by Rajput King Savai Jai Singh II. Built by Savai Jai Singh II. So what is Jantar Mantar? Jantar Mantar is basically a collection of 19 astronomical instruments. What? It is a collection of 19 astronomical instruments to study the space. Okay. So it also has the world's largest sundial stone. I guess you can see here the orange color. It is the world's largest sundial stone is present in Jantar Mantar, Jaipur, Rajasthan. Okay. See what these instruments does. These instruments allows us the observation of astronomical positions with the naked eyes. Okay. These are the instruments which allows us to see the astronomical positions in space with the naked eye. So Jantar Mantar present in Jaipur, Rajasthan. Important. Now, hill forts of Rajasthan. So, these are generally a group of forts in the state of Rajasthan. So, they are built during 6th to 17th century. Okay, they are series of 6 forts. Okay, as said, series of 6 forts located on Aravali's mountain range in Rajasthan. Important guys. Where are the hill forts of Rajasthan located? Located on Aravali mountain ranges in Rajasthan. Okay, it is generally the Rajput military architecture type. Okay, it is generally Rajput military architecture style. So, what are the forts? We have seen that there are 6 forts. Okay, let us know one by one. The first one is Chittor Fort or Chittorgarh Fort. So, you might be familiar by the name. So, Chittorgarh Fort, it is in Chittor town, Rajasthan. It is the largest fort in India. Very important. Chittor Fort is the largest fort in India. It is presented in Chittor town, Rajasthan. Next is Kumbhalgarh. Okay, Kumbhalgarh is present in Udaipur, Rajasthan. What? Kumbhalgarh present in Udaipur, Rajasthan, second largest fort in India. See, first largest Chittor town, second largest Kumbhalgarh, Udaipur, Rajasthan. Okay. Ranthambore Fort. This fort is present inside the famous Ranthambore National Park, Rajasthan. Here you get to know two things. Ranthambore Fort is in Rajasthan and also Ranthambore National Park is present in Rajasthan. Okay, it is the former hunting grounds of Maharajas of Jaipur. In this palace, Maharajas of Jaipur used it to hunt. Okay. Now the fourth fort of hill forts of Rajasthan is Amer Fort or Amber Fort. It is present in Rajasthan. This one, see how beautiful it is. It is was built by Raja Mansingh in 967 CE and it was the residence for Rajput Maharajas. Residence for Mughal emperors in Agra Fort, and residence for Rajput Maharajas in Rajasthan is Amer Fort, Amer or Amber Fort. Okay. Now Jaisalmer Fort in Jaisalmer city, Rajasthan. It was built by Raja Jaisal in 1156 AD. It is one of the very few living forts in the world. What it meant by living forts? Living forts means the forts in which people live till today, till date. Okay, still people live in these forts. So Jaisalmer Fort is one of the very few living forts in the world and second oldest fort in Rajasthan. Okay, it is the second oldest fort in Rajasthan. Okay, and it is also known as Sonar Killa or Golden Fort. See this fort, Jaisalmer Fort is also known as Sonar Killa or Golden Fort. Important keyword. Okay, and it is adjacent to Thar Desert, which is the largest desert in India, Thar Desert. So Jaisalmer Fort is situated very adjacent to Thar Desert. Now the sorry, yeah, the sixth one is Gagron Fort. Okay, it is in Jalawar district, Rajasthan. It is the monastery of Saint Pipaji. Okay, what it is? It is a monastery of Saint Pipaji, a mausoleum of Sufi Saint Mithesha. It is a mausoleum of Sufi Saint Mithesha. Okay, now we have seen the 6 hill forts of Rajasthan. Okay, they are present located on Aravali mountain ranges in Rajasthan. Very important, guys. Now, city Jaipur. See, you till now we have seen these monuments of different places, right? We have seen one place where Fatehpur Sikri is a town which is considered as a UNESCO World Heritage. In the same way, Jaipur city is also considered as the World Heritage Site. Jaipur was founded in 1727, okay, by Rajput ruler Jai Singh II. So, city was designed by Vidyadhar Bhattacharya. Jaipur city was designed by Vidyadhar Bhattacharya. Very important. Jaipur city is also known as Pink City. One more topic, guys. Nicknames of different places of India is very important. So I'll definitely make a video for that. So you may expect a question from it. So nicknames of different places of India. So Jaipur is known as Pink City. And what are the monuments present in Jaipur? Let us see. The first one is Albert Hall Museum. Okay, this is the Albert Hall Museum. It is designed by Samuel Swinton Jacob. Okay, it is designed by Samuel Swinton Jacob, and the museum has a rich collection of artifacts, including paintings, jewelry, carpets, ivory, and stone. Okay, and the Hawa Mahal, famous Jaipur. We get to remember this Hawa Mahal. This is known as Palace of Winds, built in 1799 by Maharaja Savai Pratap Singh. Okay, this Hawa Mahal is built by Maharaja Savai Pratap Singh in 1799, present in Jaipur. And Jal Mahal. See, you can see water around the palace. So water is known as Jal in Hindi. That's why it is known as Jal Mahal. See, palace in the middle of Mansagar Lake in Jaipur city. Very important, friends. They don't ask the builder all those things. They'll just ask in which lake Jal Mahal is situated. See, it is Mansagar Lake in Jaipur city. See, it is built in the 18th century by Maharaja Jai Singh II of Amber. Okay, Maharaja Jai Singh II of Amber. Now, things to know. Now, let's know the governor and CM of Rajasthan. Who is the governor of Rajasthan? It is Mr. Lieutenant Kalraj Mishra, and CM is Ashok Gehlot. He is Kalraj Mishra ji, and he is Mr. Ashok Gehlot. Governor of Rajasthan Kalraj Mishra, CM of Rajasthan Ashok Gehlot. Okay. Now, so Rajasthan we have finished. Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Delhi. Okay. Now let's see the Madhya Pradesh. The first place in Madhya Pradesh is Khajuraho group of monuments. Very important, guys. Repeatedly number of questions are coming from this temple. So the previous questions asked about the architecture of Khajuraho group of monuments and the location of Khajuraho group of monuments. Now let's see. Okay, Khajuraho group of monuments is located in Jhansi in Chhatrapur district, Madhya Pradesh. Where? Jhansi, Madhya Pradesh. Okay. It was built in 885 AD to 1050 AD by Chandela dynasty. Okay, Khajuraho group of monuments was built by Chandela dynasty. It is a group of Hindu and Jain temples. Okay, they are a group of Hindu and Jain temples, and famous for their architecture Nagara style. This is very important. Famous for their architecture Nagara style. Okay, and temple site is within the Vindhya mountain range in the central India. Okay, we all know where is Vindhya mountain range, in central India, right? So temple site is within these mountain ranges, and out of 85 temples, only 25 still exist. All temples are ruined. Okay, so important, guys. The 17th place is the Buddhist monuments at Sanchi. Okay, Buddhist monuments at Sanchi. Where they are located? Sanchi town, Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh. Okay, so these are generally group of Buddhist monuments dated between 200 BC to 100 BC. They are built between 200 BC to 100 BC. See, Great Stupa at Sanchi is one of the oldest stone structures in India. So this is the Stupa at Sanchi, which is the oldest stone structure in India. Okay, this was built by Emperor Ashoka in the 3rd century BC. This stupa is present in Sanchi town, Bhopal, built by Akbar. Okay, see what it is. It is simple hemispherical brick structure built over relics of Buddha. This question is asked in the exam, guys. I know this. Okay, simple hemispherical brick structure built over the relics of Buddha. Okay, okay. So this is not over 85. No, this is wrong. Okay, this is related to Khajuraho group of monuments. Okay, so Khajuraho group of monuments, Jhansi, Madhya Pradesh, Buddhist stupas, Sanchi town, Madhya Pradesh. Okay, and the famous Bhimbetka rock shelters. You might have studied in your school days, right? Bhimbetka rock shelters, ancient life, ancient man. Okay, it is present in Raisen district, Madhya Pradesh. What it is, guys? It is a rock, that is a caves where ancient man lived here, because we have evidences and paintings which prove that ancient man lived here. So these are the archaeology site in central India that spans the prehistoric, Paleolithic and Mesolithic periods. Okay, these represent the prehistoric time of Paleolithic and Mesolithic periods. They consist of 7 hills and over 750 rock shelters distributed over 10 kilometers. So we have 7 hills in which 750 rock shelters, okay, are distributed over 10 kilometers. So has the oldest known rock art in India. So Bhimbetka has the oldest known rock art in India. I don't know whether you can see these red color paintings or not. This is the art drawn by the ancient man. Okay, Where is Bhimbetka rock shelters located? Resident district Madhya Pradesh, that is okay, but where? Located in the foothills of Vindhya range of hills. Okay, these are very important, guys. Exact location they might ask, they might not ask. Okay, but these are very important because they might be asking about the various ranges. They concentrate on the physical features of India, rivers, these valleys. So they concentrate mountains. They concentrate on this. So Bhimbetka rock shelters are located on the Vindhya range of hills. Now let's see the CM and governor. Governor of Madhya Pradesh, Srimati Anandiben Patel. Srimati Anandiben Patel is also the governor of other state. Okay, I have already told you. Please comment in the mention in the comment section. And the CM, Shri Shivaraj Singh Chauhan. CM of Madhya Pradesh, Shivaraj Singh Chauhan. Okay. Now come to the state of Gujarat. Okay, the 19th one, the Champaner Pavagadh Archaeological Park. Champaner Pavagadh Archaeological Park is a UNESCO site located in Champaner, Panchmahal district, Gujarat. Okay, what it is, guys? It is a historic and living cultural heritage monuments such as Chalcolithic sites, a hill fortress of an early Hindu capital. Okay, these are the archaeology sites, that's heritage monument which belong to Chalcolithic age, and it has a hill fortress of an early Hindu capital. It has the remains of 16th century capital of state of Gujarat. So in 16th century, Gujarat has a capital, so it has its remains. Okay, and Kalika Mata temple located on the top of 800 meters, that is 2600 feet high Pavagad hill. There is a hill named Pavagad hill. On top of the hill we have one temple. See, it is dedicated to Kalika Mata. Okay, it is 2600 feet height. Okay, Champaner Pavagad in Champaner, Panchmahal district, Gujarat. And we have this Rani Ki Vav. Guys, this particular monument is printed on one of the currency notes of India. You just find it out on which currency note this Rani Ki Vav is printed. Okay, see, Rani Ki Vav means the queen's step well. You can see the monument which has steps descending down. Okay, the series of steps. Okay, where it is located? It is located on the banks of Saraswati river. Important, it is located on the banks of Saraswati river, Patan, Gujarat. Okay, nowadays we can't see the Saraswati river, but we believe that there is Saraswati river. So when you study about the rivers, there you come to know that where these Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati meets. Okay, there will know about detail about the Saraswati river. Okay, this Rani Ki Vav was commissioned in 1603 but completed after 20 years. It was built by Udaymati in the memory of husband Bhim during the rule of Chalukya dynasty. Okay, during the rule of Chalukya dynasty, Udaymati ji has built this Rani Ki Vav in the memory of husband Bhima. Okay, this is a designed as inverted temple highlighting the sanctity of water. Okay, it is built what? It is built as an inverted temple. See, you can see over here, it is in the shape of inverted steps descending down. Generally we have steps ascending up, right, for the temples. Here the steps are descending down. So it is a largest example of step well architecture. Very important, largest example of step well architecture. And most of the sculptures are in devotion to Vishnu. Here in this Rani Ki Vav we have many sculptures and most of them are devoted to Lord Vishnu. Okay, yeah, the last monument in the Gujarat is that is a UNESCO site is the historic city of Ahmedabad. So again one more city which is considered as the UNESCO heritage site, historic city of Ahmedabad, Gujarat. So it was founded by Sultan Ahmad Shah in 15th century. Ahmedabad city was founded by Sultan Ahmad Shah in 15th century. It is on the banks of Sabarmati river. Okay, it is on the banks of Sabarmati river. It is also known as walled city. Okay, it is also known as walled city. Okay, we have completed the UNESCO sites in the state of Gujarat. Now let's see the CM and governor. See, CM of, so governor of Gujarat, Mr. Acharya Devvrat. He is Mr. Acharya Devvrat. Okay, he is the governor of Gujarat. And Mr. Vijay Rupani, he is the chief minister of Gujarat. Okay, governor Acharya Devvrat, CM Vijay Rupani, Gujarat. Okay, now let's come to the state of Orissa. See, there is only one monument, okay, which is very famous, that is known as Sun Temple, that is Konark, Orissa. So mostly we all call it as Konark Sun Temple, right? It's present in Orissa. See, it is attributed to King Narsimha Deva I of the Eastern Ganga dynasty about 1250 CE. Okay, It was attributed to King Narasimha Deva I of Eastern Ganga dynasty. Okay, it is a 13th century sun temple. It is also known as Black Pagoda. This temple is built in 13th century. It is also known as Black Pagoda, and this temple is dedicated to Lord Sun. Okay, Surya, located on the east coast of Bay of Bengal in the Mahanadi Delta. We have learned about deltas, right? So, in the Mahanadi Delta on the east coast of Bengal, Sun Temple is situated. Okay, it is also known as Black, very important guys, Black Pagoda. Sun Temple is also known as Black Pagoda. Built in the form of chariot of Surya. Okay, built in the form of chariot of Surya. You can see the wheels over here. See, this is the one of the wheel. Okay, the sun god with 24 wheels. So, it has 24 wheels similar to this, the wheel shown in the picture, okay, around the temple. See, this is dedicated to Hindu sun god Surya. As I already said, the sun temple is dedicated to Hindu sun god Surya, and the architecture of sun temple is of Kalinga style of architecture. Important. So, sun temple, Konark, Orissa, Kalinga style of architecture, and it is also known as Black Pagoda. Who built it? It was built by Narasimha Deva I. These are the important questions which may arise, which may ask in exams. Okay. Now, who is the governor of Orissa? See, he is Mr. Ganeshi Lal Mathurji. He is the governor of Orissa, and Mr. Naveen Patnaik, CM of Orissa. Yeah. Now let's go to the northeastern states of India, that is Assam. So 23rd one, Kaziranga National Park. Kaziranga National Park is a national park situated in Assam. So it is established as a reserve forest in 1908. Sorry. Yeah. See, Kaziranga National Park is established as a reserve forest in 1908 and renamed as Kaziranga Wildlife Sanctuary in 1950. Guys, Kaziranga National Park in Assam is famous for what? So it is famous for one-horned rhinoceros. Very important. You will get direct question. One-horned rhinoceros are found in Kaziranga National Park is famous for dash. Okay, the answer is one-horned rhinoceros. See, it was declared as a national park in 1974, and it hosts 2/3 of the world's great one-horned rhinoceros. Okay, in world, out of one part, so 2/3 of total population of rhinoceros is present in Kaziranga National Park. See, I have given a location of the Kaziranga National Park on the map. Okay, see, Kaziranga is a recognized and important bird area, BirdLife International for conservation of avifaunal species. Okay, Kaziranga is recognized as an important bird area by BirdLife International for conservation of avifaunal species. See, avifaunal species means the birds that belong to a particular region, that is a particular place or region. So the birds that belong to any particular place or any particular region are called avifaunal species. Okay, and Kaziranga National Park is crisscrossed by 4 major rivers including the Brahmaputra. What is meant by this crisscross? That is, in Kaziranga National Park, 4 major rivers flow inside the national park, including the Brahmaputra river. See, you can see the Brahmaputra river passing through the Kaziranga National Park. This is the Brahmaputra river. Okay. Next one is Manas Wildlife Sanctuary. Manas Wildlife Sanctuary in Assam is famous for, what is this? Buffalo. No guys, it is a wild water buffalo. Okay, it is a wild water buffalo. Where they are located? They are located in Manas Wildlife Sanctuary, Assam. So it has been declared as a sanctuary on 1st October 1928 and is located on the foothills of Himalayas. It is a national park, Project Tiger Reserve, Elephant Reserve, Biosphere Reserve. So Manas is very important because it is a Biosphere Reserve, Elephant Reserve, Tiger Reserve, and a national park also. Okay, so this is the entrance gate of Manas Wildlife Sanctuary. It's not a national park, it's a wildlife sanctuary. And now let's see the governor and CM of Assam. See who is the governor of Assam? So Mr. Jagadish Mukhi is the governor of Assam and CM is Sarbanand Sonowal. Present CM is Sarbanand Sonowal of Assam. Now comes to the state of West Bengal. West Bengal, you should know, you should remember the name of famous Kumari Mamata Banerjee. Okay, not Srimati, it's Kumari Mamata Banerjee, the present CM of West Bengal. We all call her by the nickname known as Didi, right? Okay. See, Sundarban National Park. Sundarban National Park is the largest reserve for the Bengal tiger. See, here you can see the Sundarban National Park is famous for mangrove forest, right? Sundarban National Parks are famous for mangrove forest. What are the mangrove forests, guys? Mangrove forests are nothing but there are the trees which most of the roots of the trees are in the water. Okay, so why it is called a Sundarban National Park? Sundarban National Park, in Sundarban National Park there exists a tree named as Sundari. So the trees, they are almost covered with the water and their roots lie in the water itself. That's why the Sundarban National Park is known as mangrove forest, and it is located on the Ganges Delta, Sundarbans, West Bengal. Okay, so as already said, it is the largest reserve for Bengal tiger. So West Bengal, Bengal tiger, Sundarban, and it has the largest estuarine mangrove forest in the world. Largest estuarine mangrove forest in the world. What is meant by these estuaries? Okay, see, you can see here the river is divided into different streams, right? See, it is divided into different streams. So rivers, when they meet into the sea, they are divided into two things. They are known as, one is known as deltas and one is known as estuaries. Okay, so this part which you can see here, these are known as estuaries, and Sundarban National Park has the largest estuarine mangrove forest in the world, and it is a home to variety of birds, reptiles and invertebrate species, and including the salt water crocodile. Okay, I have not given the picture of salt water crocodile. You just Google it, you'll come to know the how salt water crocodile looks like. Okay, and Sundarban National Park is a national park, tiger reserve, World Heritage Site, and a biosphere reserve as well. Okay, now, and see, in Sundarban National Park, you might expect a question regarding the which is the largest estuarine mangrove forest in the world. The answer is Sundarban National Park. Okay, now coming to the mountain railways of India, Darjeeling Himalayan Railway, Darjeeling. Okay, so these are come under the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Okay, what it is the railway lines of Indian Railways. So we have three railway lines which have come under UNESCO. So those are, the first one is the Darjeeling Himalayan Railway. Here you can see, right? You can see the train over here. See how beautiful it is. So the Darjeeling Himalayan Railway, it runs between Siliguri and Darjeeling in a span of 88 kilometers. So it runs between Siliguri and Darjeeling. The second one is Nilgiri Mountain Railways. This Nilgiri Mountain, where are the Nilgiri Mountains located, guys? Nilgiri Mountains are located in Western Ghats, at a part of Western Ghats. So they run between Mettupalayam to Udanga Mandalam. Okay, Udanga Mandalam is a span of 46 kilometers. Okay, you might have heard the famous tourist place, that is Ooty. The place is very near to this place, that is Udanga Mandalam. So Kalka Shimla Railway, Kalka Shimla Railway, this one. Okay, it runs between Kalka and Shimla with the span of 95.6 kilometers. Please remember this, the places, that is the railway line. This is very important for your railway examinations especially. Okay, yeah. Now comes the Mahabodhi temple complex. Okay, after listening the name Mahabodhi, you should immediately remember Sri Mahatma Buddha. Okay, it is the spiritual place for Buddhist people, and it is in Bodh Gaya, Bihar. So Mahabodhi temple is also known as Mahabodhi Mahavihar. Okay, it is Mahabodhi temple is also known as Mahabodhi Mahavihar, which is located in Bodh Gaya, Bihar. It is the first temple which was built by Emperor Ashoka in the 3rd century BC. See, this is the first temple built by Emperor Ashoka in 3rd BC around the Bodhi tree Ficus religiosa. See, here you can see a tree around this tree, and the name of the tree is Ficus religiosa. Okay, this is the scientific name of it, and it is a place where Siddhartha Gautam Buddha was enlightened in 531 BC at the age of 35. Okay, see, Gautam Buddha was enlightened in this place in 531 BC at the age of 35. Mahabodhi temple, Bodh Gaya, Bihar. Okay, next, archaeological site of Nalanda Mahavira. Have you ever heard about the Nalanda University, guys? Name of the university, Nalanda University. Yeah, this is the same university where it is located in Rajgarh, Bihar. It was, you can see the Nalanda University. These are some of the buildings of it, and you can see some of the tomb-like structures like the small ones. Okay, these are special names. We'll be discussing them now. Okay, see, it was built by Kumaragupta in 5th century, and archaeology remains of monastic and scholastic institution dating from the 3rd century BC to the 3rd century CE. What? These are the archaeological remains. Archaeological remains are nothing but the buildings which are partially ruined, and some of them remain till date. Okay, of monastic and scholastic institutions in the 3rd century to 13th century. And Nalanda stands out as the most ancient university of the Indian subcontinent. Very, very, very important question, guys. So, which is the ancient university of the ancient Indian subcontinent? It is the Nalanda University. See, students at Nalanda studied Mahayana, Vedas, logic, Sanskrit grammar, medicine, and Samakya. So these are the subjects which were taught in that university at those times. Okay, great library at Nalanda named Dharmaganj has 3 floors. Okay, this is the library which you can see. So this is the name of the library is Dharmaganj. It has 3 floors. 1, 2, 3. Okay, namely Ratnasagara, the ocean of jewels, Ratnodadi, sea of jewels, and Ratnaranjaka, jewel adorned. So these names are very important. Multiple times this question has arisen. Name of the floors of the library of Nalanda University. Okay, Nalanda University, Rajgarh, Bihar, built by Kumaragupta, ancient university of subcontinent, and the names of this library and also the subjects taught in Nalanda University. Important, guys. Okay, please make a note of it. Now let's go to the Tamil Nadu state. Okay, so Mahabalipuram temple. It is located on the Coromandel coast of the Bay of Bengal. Okay, where is Coromandel coast located? See, this is our India. Okay, this is Bay of Bengal, and here is the Coromandel coast located. So Mahabalipuram temple is located in the state of Tamil Nadu. Okay, here somewhere here we have this Tamil Nadu and Mahabalipuram temple. Okay, so it was built during the Pallava dynasty. It was built during the Pallava dynasty, and it is known as the 7 pagodas. Mahabalipuram temple is also known as the 7 pagodas, and we have learned that one monument is known as Black Pagoda. What is it? One monument is known as Black Pagoda. What it is? It is Sun Temple. Okay, Sun Temple. Where it is located? Konark, Orissa. Okay, it is known as Black Pagoda, and Mahabalipuram temples are known as 7 pagodas. Okay, this site has 40 ancient monuments and Hindu temples. So group of monuments of Mahabalipuram has 40 ancient monuments and Hindu temples. One of the largest open air rock reliefs in the world. It contains one of the largest open air rock reliefs in the world. It has rathas, chariot shaped temples, mandapas, cave temples, rock reliefs and structural temples. Okay, so I have given you the pictures of some of the monuments of Mahabalipuram. Here you can see the temple. Okay, here you can see the sculptures. Most of them are for you can see the animals like elephant and cow, which are the symbolism of Pallava dynasty. Okay, now coming to the great living Chola temples. Great living Chola temples. So by the name, these temples are built by Chola dynasty kings in present in Tamil Nadu. So group of Chola dynasty era Hindu temples built between early 11th and 12th century. So they were built between 11th and 12th century and built by the kings of Chola Empire. The first temple, we have three temples in great living Chola temples. Okay, the first one is Brodeshwara temple. The temple is located in Tanjavur. It was built by Rajaraja Chola I. Okay, this Brodeshwara temple was built by Rajaraja Chola I in between the period 1003 and 1010 AD. Okay, this temple is of Shiva temple. Okay, the god here is a Shiva god, and it is in Tanjavur. Very famous temple, friends, and it looks very good. You must visit once your lifetime for these temples. Okay, and the second one is the Airateshwara temple. Okay, Airateshwara temple. It is also a Shiva temple, and it is in Darusuram, Kumbakonam. Okay, in Tamil Nadu. It was built by Rajaraja II around 1150 AD. Okay, and the third one is Gangaikonda Cholapuram temple. It is also a Shiva temple. It is located in Gangaikonda Cholapuram of Tamil Nadu. It is built in 1035 AD by Rajendra Chola I. Okay, so these are the Chola temples which are built by the kings of Chola Empire. So I mentioned the name, that is Rajaraja Chola I, Rajaraja II, and Rajendra Chola I. Now let's go to the state of Goa. As the name depicts, churches and convents of Goa, we can see a many number of churches in Goa. Okay, where there it is present in Goa. It was built by Portuguese colonial rulers. Okay, Portuguese colonial rulers of Goa between 16th and 18th centuries. As we all know, so many people from East India, various eastern part of India, from different countries have come to India for trading. So Portugal people are also one of them who have come for India for trading. So when they came for India for trading, they have built some churches. Okay, in which period in between 16th and 18th centuries. Most significant of these monuments is Basilica of Bom Jesus. So the famous church of these monuments is Basilica of Bom Jesus, which enshrines the tomb containing the relics of Saint Francis Xavier. Okay, Saint Francis Xavier relics were placed in Basilica of Bom Jesus Church. This is the church, and this is the other churches of Goa. Okay, and the next comes the Nanda Devi and Valley of Flowers National Parks. Nanda Devi and Valley of Flower National Parks. See, here you can see the beautiful valley, right? So Valley of Flowers National Park. So what kind of flowers do you find there? Just comment me. Okay, see, they are present in Garhwal Himalaya, Charmoli district, Uttarakhand. Chamoli, I guess, right? Recently we have floods over there, right? Chamoli district. Yeah, Nanda Devi and Valley of Flowers National Parks is present in Garhwal Himalaya, Charmoli district, Uttarakhand. Okay, so they are renowned for its meadows of endemic alpine flowers. They are renowned for meadows of endemic alpine flowers. This richly diverse area is also home for rare and endangered animals. Okay, including Asiatic black bear, snow leopard, brown bear, and blue sheep. Guys, have you ever seen a sheep which is blue in color? I have not seen. See, we need to Google it to find how it looks like, right? What it is: Asiatic black bear, snow leopard, brown bear, and blue sheep. These are present in Nanda Valley, Nanda Devi and Valley of Flowers National Parks, Garhwal Himalaya, Chamoli district, Uttarakhand. Okay. Now, the Great Himalayan National Park. Okay, where it is located? It is located in Kulu, that is Himachal Pradesh. It is established in the year 1984, and the Great Himalayan National Park is between the Indo-Malayan Rim to the south and Palearctic Rim to the north. Okay, so in the Himalayan National Park is located between, to the south we have Indo-Malayan Rim, and to the north we have Palearctic Rim. Okay, and it is characterized by high alpine peaks, alpine meadows, and riverine forests. So Himalayan National Parks has high alpine peaks, high alpine meadows and riverine forest. Okay, you can see here. This is the Great Himalayan National Park. A picture taken from inside the national park, and these are the wild goat. Okay. Now, Kanchenjunga National Park. Kanchenjunga National Park. Kanchenjunga mountain is the highest mountain of India, right? Where it is present? It is present in Sikkim. So it is established in the year 1977 and inscribed to the UNESCO World Heritage Sites list in July 2016. Okay, UNESCO recognized it as a heritage site in 2016 July, and it became the first mixed heritage site of India. Okay, Kanchenjunga National Park is the first mixed heritage site of India. How many mixed heritage sites of India? Mixed heritage sites we have in India, friends? We have only one, and it is Kanchenjunga National Park. And see, I've already said Kanchenjunga mountain is the highest peak of India and the third highest peak in the world. So its height is 8,586 meters, that is 28,169 feet. So this park contains Tolung Monastery, which is the oldest monastery of Buddhism. Okay. So far we have learned 34 World Heritage Sites and also various other places of different states. Okay. Now let's go to the Chandigarh. Okay. In Chandigarh we have one place, that is Chandigarh Capital Complex, the architectural work of Le Corbusier. Okay. What? Chandigarh Capital Complex, the architectural work of Le Corbusier. So who is this Le Corbusier? See, I have given a picture of him. He is a Swiss French architect, designer, painter, and an urban planner. Okay, he is the origin of Switzerland. He is French. He is an architect, designer, painter, and urban planner. Okay, so this complex is a government compound designed by architect. So you can see the compound over here. It is present in a Chandigarh. It is a court complex basically. It was designed by this person, Le Corbusier. It comprises three buildings: the Palace of Assembly or Legislative Assembly, the Secretariat building, and the High Court. So it has an assembly, it has Secretariat, and a High Court. It has also four monuments named Open Hand Monument, Geometric Hill, Tower of Shadows, and the Matrix Monument, and a lake. Okay. Now let's see the Western Ghats. Guys, where are the Western Ghats located? Western Ghats are located where? To the west. Okay, that's why they are known as Western Ghats of India. See, I have given a map for your reference. These are all the Western Ghats. The red one, right? These are the Western Ghats spread over the vast kilometer, right? See, Western Ghats are present in the states of Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Goa, Maharashtra, and Gujarat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So Western Ghats are spread over 6 states, and they are parallel to the western coast of Indian Peninsula. This is the western coast, and they are parallel to the western coast of Indian Peninsula. So this is Western Ghats are also one of the 8 hotspots of biological diversity in the world. So we'll learn about what is the hotspots of biological diversity in the world in the different video. Okay. It is sometimes called the Great Escarpment of India. So Western Ghats are sometimes called as Great Escarpment of India. A total of 39 areas in the Western Ghats were designated as World Heritage Site in 2012. So in here we have 22 areas, 39 areas. 39 areas in the Western Ghats are designated as World Heritage Site in the year 2012. So this is very important, guys. Western Ghats, Eastern Ghats, okay, Coromandel Coast. So these are all very important. This comes in the physical features of India. Now we have only 2 monuments left. See, this is the number 37. We have one more left. Now come to the state of Karnataka. See, this is the group of monuments at Hampi. Very, very, very famous. So you can also find this chariot, right? This is known as stone chariot. This is also printed on one of the currency notes of India. So go and check your currency note for this image. So where it is located? The group of monuments are located in Hospet, Karnataka, along Tungabhadra river. So which river flows through the monuments at Hampi? So river Tungabhadra. It used to be the capital of Vijayanagara Empire. What? Hampi used to be the capital of Vijayanagara Empire. Who is the famous king? Mr. Sri Krishna Devaraya. Okay. Vijayanagara Empire, famous king was Sri Krishna Devaraya. Okay, in Tirumala temple you can see the statue of the Sri Krishna Devaraya and his wife in the entrance while you enter the main Garbhalayam. Okay, in the Hampi, Vijayanagara was the world's second largest medieval era city after Beijing. See, very important, guys. Very important fact. Hampi, Vijayanagara was the world's second largest medieval era city after Beijing. Okay, Hampi ruins was spread over 4,100 hectares. So now they are spread over 4,100 hectares and they have Dravidian style of architecture. Okay, you might get a question like, so what is the, which monument represents the Dravidian architecture? So the answer is monuments at Hampi. See, Dravidian temples and palaces abound in Hampi. And the famous temple, there is a one famous temple in this group of monuments. It is known as Virupaksha temple. So I have given a picture for you. This is the beautiful Virupaksha temple. This is a very famous temple in the group of monuments in Hampi. And this is the stone chariot. Okay. And this is the Narasimha Swami. Okay. Now let's see the last monument of India's UNESCO heritage sites. Okay, the last one is the group of monuments at Pattadakal. Where they are present? In Bagalkot district in Karnataka. Okay, they were built in 740 CE by Queen Lokma Devi. Okay, it was built by Lokma Devi to commemorate her husband King Vikramaditya's victory over the Pallava kings from the south. So King Vikramaditya's wife Lokama Devi has built this group of monuments to celebrate her husband's victory over the Pallava kings. Okay, and they are also known as Pattadakalu Pattadakalu or Raktapura. It's a complex of 7th and 8th century CE Hindu and Jain temples. So they are located on the west bank of Malaprabha river. Okay, they are located on the west bank of Malaprabha river. It was used during the Chalukya dynasty for coronation ceremonies. Okay, so during the Chalukya dynasty, these places were used for coronation ceremonies. So remarkable combination of temples built by Chalukya dynasty in the 6th to 8th century at Hayol, Badami, Pattadakal. The later city was known as the Crown Rubies. Very important. Group of monuments at Pattadakal. Later they were known as Crown Rubies, and various other monuments are built at various other places like Halihol, Badami and Pattadakal. Okay, friends, this is the last monument of World UNESCO Heritage Sites. Yeah, friends, that's it all for today's session. I hope you all have enjoyed the session. So we have discussed in detail about the monuments and places of India. In the part 2, we'll be discussing about the remaining monuments and places of India. In part 3, we'll be discussing the most expected questions and the previously asked questions for the examination. Okay, before going, please like, share and comment, and thanks for watching. Bye.